Without further delay, we will start off with our next session, which is the keynote, Intelligent Automation. Are we okay to do this? And this particular session is brought to you. And this particular session is brought to you by Ernst & Young, LLP. And our speaker is Mr. Nikhil Sharma, Partner Advisory Services, Ernst & Young, LLP. Before I hand over the microphone to him, a few words about Mr. Nikhil Sharma. Mr. Nikhil is a partner leading the finance transformation, shared services advisory practice and intelligent automation solutions of EY for North India. He has over 15 years of experience in the area of global business services strategy and execution, intelligent automation, RPA implementation, digital finance across sectors for various services such as finance, supply chain, HR and IT. He's a leader for digital and technology-led finance transformation at Ernst & Young, part of global SSC network at EY, focusing on building thought leadership on strategic imperatives in finance process delivery for global organizations. He has a certified Six Sigma Black Belt with experience in Six Sigma deployment, training, and mentoring. And a big round of applause as Mr. Nikhil Sharma is already on the dais with us. Over to you, sir.
Hi, just checking if I'm audible. Okay, thank you. So my name is Nikhil Sharma and I am not a robot. This introduction may seem strange, but in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see so much of virtual robots in our workplace that perhaps the need will actually arise to identify yourself, whether you are a human worker or a robot worker. What I thought was that, look, we've all talked about the art of the possible when it comes to robotics, when it comes to artificial intelligence, and of course, Peter's session was awesome. What I will try and just focus this session on in just a quick 10-15 minutes will be around applications in the day-to-day businesses. What are we seeing? Where are people actually applying these technologies? And seeing is believing, so I thought, let me first start off directly with just one small example. And as usual, when we are doing something technical, technology does falter. There it is. This is from our labs in Trivandrum, the EY lab. And I hope you can see for yourself what is the extent of...
Based on FY16 data, Company A is the biggest with 50 million euros, followed by Company B with 30 and Company C with 25 million euros.
Show me the revenue by quarter from Company A.
Q1, 15 million euros, Q2, 25 million euros, Q3, 5 million euros, Q4, 5 million euros.
What is the main reason for the high revenue in quarter 2?
80% of the revenue in Q2 was driven by Project X, generating over 20 million euros.
Create a bar chart from this data.
Here you go.
Add a CAGR line to this.
Adding CAGR line.
Put this in a slide. Change the title to Our revenue with Company A has increased by 35% compared to last year, mainly driven by Project X. Send this to me.
Okay, I've sent this deck to your email.
So this is reality. What we expect in the next 2 to 3 years is with the amount of data enterprises will be generating, executive senior management won't really have the time and the energy to go through reams and reams of Excel file data. This is about interactive technologies where we will see people actually integrating their voice technologies with system and actually getting answers on their business enterprise to make decisions. That was in finance. Let's see what's happening in the HR world. So here we have...
Here, we show a virtual interviewer with a serious and reserved personality.
It's a chatbot
His name
which
is
is
Albert.
engaging with a prospective employee. Has a chat with the employee, a prospective employee, gets a few basic questions right, engages and has conversations, tries to get data from the person on its extracurriculars, tries to get data around what has been his hobbies, and then actually gives you a real-time assessment.
It also displays a visualization of our personality analytics. Here, the user can browse their overall Big 5 categories or go into the individual facets of openness,
Just by looking at the
conscientiousness,
responses on a lifetime basis
extroversion,
with this prospective employee, as you are chatting,
agreeableness,
the system generates out based on the words, the tones, the
neuroticism,
use of language, on what are the kind of attributes that the person can potentially have. This is a real-time application of a chatbot in your HR world. All these that we are talking about, by the way, is not out of a possibility or a science fiction. These are actual production deployments in Indian corporations today. So let's do some crystal ball gazing. What are we talking about? We are talking about disruptive productivity. When we talk of robotics, artificial intelligence, intelligent automation in the enterprise, we are essentially looking at number of man-hours of capacity being generated. In fact, this particular slide where we talked about by 2025 we'll be saving around 150 million hours of work is already being reconsidered, and we are looking at 500 million as the number. When we started off our journey itself in this is a 18-month journey for us, we believed that we would be automating some 100,000 hours by 2017. That number for us is around 1 million hours in just a span of 12 months. We are going towards an economy where approximately 45% of the work that is today done, especially valid for IT, ITS, BPO industries, will get automated. In fact, we are in a media house. When we did an analysis of just the two words, robots and jobs, it has seen a 70% increase year on year in terms of just the referenceability and the number of questions that are being asked around the world in these areas. And finally, it's not just about small companies. Today, if we go to the entire public services system, the way it is designed in Singapore is actually on the basis of these kind of technologies. Now the question is that, is it something that we need to fear? Is it, and this is a big myth that is going around, the IT, ITS industry will fall out, we will see a lot of jobs getting lost. And especially in a case of our scenario where our demographic is of a very young population, what does that mean? And interestingly, what we are seeing is actually it is not the reduction of workforce what is important, but is the investing in reskilling. I think that is where the big difference is going to come from. But we also need to understand, we talk of RPA, we talk of machine learning, what does it really try and do? It tries and simply emulates the way humans learn. If you look at the way humans learn, and in the first 3-4 years, it's primarily about sensory learnings, and then it moves on to instruction learning, and of course, understanding takes over. In the automation journey in enterprises, we are actually starting from the middle portion, what is we call the instruction learning. So robotics is nothing about, is simply put, is instruction learning. So whatever was rule-based, whatever is repetitive, you just ask the robot to do it the same way the human does. It does it faster, it does it more accurately. So the question is that if humans created machines, can't humans teach machines to actually be like more humans? And in this journey, the first step is robotic process automation, because that's the core basis of how you actually start automating. The classical IT purists will always say that no, I will always have a good ERP solution for what a robot does, and it is factually correct. Robotics today is used as a short-term, as a middle-term solution, but the way I see it is it's like a cheese. A cheese cube, if you see, will always have pocket of holes. Your best laid out plans in terms of IT technology will always leave those manual gaps which are fulfilled through Excel files, literally. This is the area where robotics is working. And this is where our workforce will literally become, out of a 10 people workforce, will be a 5 people automated, a virtual workforce, and a 5 people workforce which will be through human beings. But what it is also doing is it is pushing the boundaries of human capability. So while we are creating capacity on one hand, this capacity needs to be reinvested in building capability. In fact, we are all to blame. In the last 20 years, what we have done is we have created a BPO and IT industry where we have created jobs by SOPs. We have literally dumbified all of the work. All that we expect our graduates to do is to look at lines and just simply follow those lines without applying their brains. And in fact, that is exactly what robotics and these technologies are actually attacking. So this is the time, and in fact, IT/ITES industry is quite strong that way, and they've already looked at a lot of reskilling, which is already happening. So while there is a temporary impact, but what we see is that this is all going to change. What are the benefits of these technologies? People ask us. One, it is non-invasive, and this is a CIO's nightmare, because CIOs never like putting in systems which integrate with their core systems. And the beauty of robotics is in 6 weeks, through a non-invasive technology, some call it macros on steroids, people who are used to the Excel world, and actually generate out very quick 20 to 25% productivity. Thumb rules, a robot broadly costs today the same as a human being, $4,000, $5,000. 3 to 4 lakhs, broadly. But the possibility is to replace the work of at least 4 to 5 human beings, in some cases 8 to 9. That's the real impact from a business case standpoint for those who are wondering. The other beauty is auditability. Because of robotics, enterprises are seeing a lot of data which is generated or which is processed data. It is auditable, it is ready for the next wave, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning. What do I mean by that? What really happens is that once you have created a lot of data, we go back to our own learning, is that we start making sense of the data, and that's where really cognitive sciences or machine learning sciences come into picture. This is simplifying artificial intelligence. So once the enterprise has a lot of data, it starts learning from the data. An easy way to, an analogy is, you all use an Amazon, you all use these e-retail sites, and you will see a lot of those applications already there in those sites, where depending on who you are, the products, your earlier choice of products that you have bought, it automatically adjusts literally what you see on screen and prompts you to do various actions. Coming down low, in terms of what does it mean from a journey perspective, and when we talk of intelligent automation in enterprise, we start with RPA, a simple Excel-based task, a PR to PO creation, an onboarding of a new employee. There are thousands of use cases that are now relevant. We move on, once we have the data, is to look at machine learning. We move on and start making it cognitive. What does cognitive mean? What we saw in the first example is cognitive, which is through speech or through written language, making sense of what is really written, which was erstwhile only a human phenomenon. But today we have very smart technologies. Pixel 2 is advertising. You go to a Siri, and their ability to understand context behind what is written is driving a lot of new automation. So NLP, and then it moves on to what we call the natural language generator. And by the way, the print media really needs to worry about, because a lot of the news that you see in the net today is actually generated through robots. What they simply do is aggregate information, use a natural language generator, and actually publish a new news. So it is a science that is already happening in our worlds today. Let me give you an enterprise-wide example. You would have all be part of organizations which have help desks in some form or the other. And help desks have a big problem. They get hundreds of emails or hundreds of calls. Which one should we prioritize? Let's look at a practical application. This is a real-life example which is implemented in one of our telco companies in India, where what happens is that all from your ticket systems, all the emails are actually put in. What you're seeing is actually the live demo of it, is all the emails are jotted down, whatever has come over the night, hundreds of emails, and a tonal analysis is done on the emails, whether you see anger in the email, whether you see disgust, whether you see happiness, whether you are seeing joy, whether you are seeing concern. What is the tone of the email through the language of the email is figured out, and what you see as heat map in the terms of red shows higher amount of anger or disgust. This helps prioritize which are the items that I need to pick and choose and literally respond faster rather than those which have just sent in a thank you email, for example, or ones that are not really asking for any specific action. So in the thousands of email, it quickly helps you from a customer service prioritize what really we need to attack, immediately route it to maybe more experienced people who can deal with those customers, and finally leads to, if you want to send an email out, automatically happens. All of this, as I keep repeating, is happening in enterprises today. Let us talk about our own environment, because we started with making us our own guinea pigs. We are supposedly an audit firm. We do a lot of work which is very tacit knowledge, and we apply a lot of brains. But what we have done is within, EY India today, within the last 18 months, adds 2 robots in the workforce every day for themselves and for their clients. In fact, if we go round, our target is by the end of the year, which is from starting next year, we would be in a position to literally deploy 10 bots a day. We are already at 800 bots. These are working live in client places. They are supplementing human workforce. As I said, it is not about reduction in workforce. It's about creating the capacity for your workforce to do better things in life. And finally, when you thought that this was all about back office processes, this is a small audio clip. This was played by the Royal London Orchestra. The composition has been created by a robot. Not the best of compositions, I would be the first one to agree, but the fact is the name of this robot was Llamas, and the entire composition was created by this through learning of variety of different composition. So it is now, robots are getting more and more creative. What I leave behind is a question for all of you, saying that, have you actually started talking about a digital workforce in your organizations? This is not rocket science. This is not a science of the future. This is happening as we speak, and it is happening very fast. The other thing is to remove all the pessimism around all of this. This is not a threat. This is an opportunity. We are now constantly seeing enterprises where people are being asked, challenged far more, and being reskilled. It is an opportune time where we are saying to people that, look, what you did, which was standard, let the machines do. Figure out what you can do better. You can learn better. And I think learning is going to be the most important criteria going forward in most enterprises. So in summary, what I wanted to talk to you about is intelligent automation in enterprises, some practical examples in the lines of functions like HR, finance, customer service, over 1,000 of other use cases already live, and which are significantly helping people do better jobs. With that, I close. If there are any parting questions, happy to take them.
I think we have just time for one question, sir.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, can you take the microphone? Yes.
Are you having any idea as how this intelligent automation can help us in mining industry, particularly in open cast mining?
So one important point, I think, is this is software robotics. This is not, the robotics that we talk about from a shop floor perspective. So this is point number one. And this is a constant confusion that really happens. All this that we are talking about is around services, around automation of what a human being does on computers and on Excel files. So this is not about the actual robots that you see, which is industrial automation per se. That has been anyway existent for a long time. So, but if you talk about within the mining industry per se, so we have some large mining companies in their back offices, in their finance function, in their HR, all the work that was being done, which was, a 100 people workforce, which is doing reconciliations, which is looking at a lot of data entry points, etc., that is getting automated. I hope I can clarify that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll have to close this session. Thank you. May I request Mr. K.K. Mahapatra, Organizing Secretary and Associate Vice President, INFOCOM, and Chief IT Advisor, ABP Private Limited, to kindly come forward and present a memento to Mr. Nikhil Sharma. Thank you very much, sir, for this interesting session.